It sounds cynical, but watch what actually happens. The moment you publicly attach yourself to one person, one faction, one side, you stop being an asset to everyone else. And power lives in optionality. Most people misunderstand this law. They hear don't commit and think it means be disloyal, cold, or isolated. That's not what this is about. This is about never being owned. Because the second someone believes they own your loyalty, your leverage disappears. Let's break this down. Human beings are tribal. We form alliances fast. We pick sides instinctively. It feels good, it feels safe, it feels like belonging. But psychologically, the moment you signal I'm with them, two things happen. First, everyone outside that circle becomes cautious around you. Second, the people inside that circle stop working to earn you. You've declared yourself predictable. Predictability kills power. Look at any workplace. There are factions everywhere, leadership clusters, informal alliances, people orbiting certain personalities, quiet rivalries. Most people attach themselves early. They pick a mentor, they join a camp, they defend that camp publicly. It feels strategic. It's usually fatal. Because power shifts. Leadership changes, political winds turn, and now your identity is tied to something you can't control. The strongest position in any political environment is controlled neutrality. Not passive, not invisible. Controlled. You are friendly with everyone, you align with no one. You're respected across lines, and that makes you valuable to all sides. Here's the deeper layer. When you commit fully to one person or group, you reduce competitive tension around you. If two factions both believe they might win your support, they treat you carefully. They court you, they include you, they protect you, but once you declare loyalty, the competition vanishes. You become taken for granted. Power is often less about aggression and more about scarcity. If access to you feels limited and conditional, your value increases. If access feels automatic, your value drops. Now, this doesn't mean you become slippery or untrustworthy. It means you avoid emotional overinvestment. You don't publicly tie your identity to outcomes you don't control. You don't defend people blindly. You don't make enemies on someone else's behalf. And that last one is critical. When you commit, you inherit their enemies. Think about that. You don't just gain allies, you gain their rivalries. And most of the time, those rivalries have nothing to do with you. Yet now you're entangled. The most powerful players rarely rush to pick sides. They observe, they let others fight. They allow factions to compete for them. And when they move deliberately, not emotionally. Let's make this modern. Imagine you're in a corporate environment. Two senior leaders are subtly competing for influence. If you loudly align yourself with one, you've made a bet. And if that leader loses political capital 6 months from now, you lose with them. But if both leaders view you as competent, measured, and independent, you become transferable power. You become someone both sides want access to. That's leverage. Now let's move this into social dynamics. In friendships, people test loyalty constantly. Are you with me or them? That's a trap question. Because often the conflict is temporary, emotional, volatile. If you fully commit to one side, you harden the division. If you stay calm, measured, and neutral, you often become the stabilizer. And stabilizers gain quiet influence. This law is really about resisting emotional capture. When someone pulls you into their grievance, their drama, their war, they are recruiting you. Most people get pulled in because they crave belonging. Powerful people understand belonging can be weaponized. Now here's the nuance. You can cooperate deeply. You can build strong partnerships. You can even show loyalty. But you never surrender independent judgment. You never outsource your thinking. And you never let your survival depend on a single alliance, because dependence creates fear. And fear makes you compliant. Optionality creates calm. And calm creates power. Historically, rulers who survived long reigns did not overcommit to one faction. They balanced, they rotated favor, they allowed competition to continue. Why? Because if one group becomes too comfortable, they stop meeting you. The same is true in your life. If one network becomes your only network, they stop competing for your presence. Scarcity disappears, and so does influence. There's also a reputational component here. When you are known as someone who commits too quickly, people test you. They see if they can absorb you into their orbit. But when you are known as someone measured, self-contained, and slow to declare allegiance, people respect that boundary. And paradoxically, they trust you more because you're not reactive. You're selective. Let's address the obvious objection. But isn't loyalty important? Yes, but blind loyalty is dangerous. True loyalty is chosen repeatedly, not declared impulsively, and it should be earned continuously. The most powerful form of loyalty is voluntary, not captured. There's also something else. When you commit publicly, you freeze your identity. You limit your evolution. You become the person aligned with X. And if you need to pivot later, it looks inconsistent. Independence keeps your identity fluid. Fluidity keeps you adaptable. Adaptability is survival. Now here's the tactical layer. How do you actually apply this law without looking evasive? First, speak in principles, not factions. Instead of I'm with them, say I agree with that approach. You support ideas, not tribes. Second, avoid public declarations of allegiance unless strategically necessary. Private cooperation, public neutrality. Third, maintain multiple strong relationships across different circles. Diversity of connection equals resilience. Fourth, never let one person control your access to opportunity. If someone becomes your sole gateway, you've surrendered leverage. Build parallel channels, always. And finally, do not let emotion rush you into commitment. If someone pressures you to pick a side now, that urgency benefits them, not you. Time is your ally. Distance is your clarity. Now let's elevate this. The highest level of this law is not isolation, it's magnetism. When you are independent, composed, and unowned, people project strength onto you. They assume you have options. An assumption of power often becomes real power. The person who needs no faction becomes the person factions seek. The person who isn't desperate for belonging becomes the one others want to include. That's the paradox. Detachment increases desirability. Optionality increases authority, and measured neutrality increases influence. So here's the closing principle. Commit to your standards, commit to your growth, commit to your discipline. But be extremely careful about committing your identity to anyone else's battles. Because once you're owned, your power is negotiated, and power that has to ask permission is not power. That's Law 20.